Again, Stuart, what a surprise. Again, we've got the summit of the crisis summit, rather, to save the euro on the front of Le Figaro. On the editorial there, they're looking at what this might mean for French politics and how Nicolas Sarkozy and François Hollande are going to convince their voters to go for this consolidating of French and German budgetary and fiscal policy. Of course, Le Figaro is quite in favour of Sarkozy's idea, as they always are. They say that François Hollande might have set out his policy stall on the euro. He wants a more involved role for the BCE. He wants euro bonds. But Nicolas Sarkozy is already pushing for those things, they say. He's doing his best to hold up France's side against the Germans. And François Hollande, the socialist, who says that too much sovereignty is being handed over to Europe with Nicolas Sarkozy's new ideas, is behind the times. They say he's got an old-fashioned nationalistic French idea about sovereignty, and he's got to realise you can't make the Germans spend money to bail out penniless countries without giving them something in return.
You mentioned François Hollande there. He's in Berlin today.
Yes, all the papers are looking at this. The business paper Les Echos says he's got quite a hard time ahead of him there. He's trying to rebalance the relationship with France and Germany. He's gone there to meet his German socialist counterparts, the SPD, today, and he's trying to create what he's calling a Europe of governance and growth, a socialist European unity, to put up against Merkel and Sarkozy's European unity of austerity. So he's trying to provide an alternative, a socialist way of looking at Europe. But it's quite a hard sell, Les Echos says, because he's much less in favour of a European policy unity than the German counterparts, the German SPD, are. Inside Libération, they're also looking at this. They've been talking to people in Hollande's party, his socialist spokespeople, and they say he's going to use the trip to make a clear case for a European left-wing unity. But they do admit it's a difficult line to walk for him. He's well known to have foreign policy as a kind of weak point, and this is one of his first foreign trips abroad as a politician, and it's a difficult balancing act.
Another political story all over the papers is immigration, once again rearing its head.
Foreign doctors, France can't do without them. That's according to the front page of Le Parisien. They say that more and more foreign students who do their degrees in France are being forced to leave once they've graduated because of tough immigration policy. But actually, 20% of doctors in France are foreign, 30% of those alone are from Romania, and lots of GP surgeries in the north of France, especially rural areas, places where French doctors don't want to live, absolutely depend on these foreign doctors. They interview a Romanian one in there, and he says he loves his job in a tiny village in the north of France, and his patients love him. Les Echos is also looking at this today. They talk to the CEOs of some of France's biggest companies, including L'Oréal, who say they just can't get the staff they want from France. They need people who speak Portuguese, Chinese, Arabic to help them move into emerging markets, and they're not going to find those staff among French graduates.
Inner cities, though, causing some problems in the papers. This is to do with crime, isn't it? Talking about Marseille particularly.
Yes, France's second city has long been known as the French Naples, as a kind of mafia and crime centre. But it seems to be getting worse and worse, says Libération. The Kalashnikov doesn't know any borders is its headline today. And inside the paper, they ask if violence is really getting worse in Marseille or if it's just getting more media attention. There have been 5 serious incidents involving AK-47s in the city just in the last week, 2 deaths, 3 serious injuries. But the paper says it might not necessarily be any worse than it always was. It's just that the weapons are more easily available. Apparently, you can buy a Balkan AK-47 on the street in Marseille for €750.
If you want one, you know where to go. Climate change conference. We were talking about it quite a lot last week, but it's in the papers today. This was in Durban, wasn't it?
Yep, bad weather in Durban. That's their front page here at L'Humanité. They basically say that Europe is backing down in the face of the United States' demands not to do very much about climate change. They reckon that nothing is going to be achieved there, that most of the delegates at that conference, in fact, have made up their own minds that nothing's going to be able to happen, that everyone is looking at it pretty negatively. So that's pretty depressing for environmentalists. Slightly better news for environmentalists inside Libération, though. Autolib launches today officially. That's France's, you know, the Véli bike rent scheme.
Yeah.
This is the little electric car rent scheme when you'll be able to rent one, buzz around town, and they're hoping that will stop Parisians owning cars and they'll be more convenient for the city. So the big launch of that is today.
Excellent. I might give it a go. I used the bikes, haven't used the cars yet, but maybe one day. All right, Elena, thanks very much. That's Elena there with the French newspapers.